one, you didn't beat up a champion, bro. I don't think that Errol Spence would beat Sean Porter. Okay. God bless you, kid. You're blessed. Everybody knows in boxing that it's timing. You know, I don't really like to talk really down on fighters, and take away, you know, I hate people who just treat people like, oh, this guy's washed up now, blah, blah, blah. There's an old saying that Ben Getty used to talk about, and I never got to witness it too much in my boxing career. But the old saying is, you know, one day you got it and the next day you don't, you know, and this is just for athletes in general. This happens. It's one of those phenomena that occur in sports, not just boxing, but sports. Okay. And I haven't really witnessed it much in my career, but for the first time ever, when Errol Spence did his last performance, I think we all saw it, man. What you are today is not the fighter that you were yesterday.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Ooh, I said, God dang, what a rush. Keith Thurman out here talking spicy to Terence Bud Crawford. We unpack, coming to you live. Now, the beginning, you heard Keith one-time Thurman in an exclusive interview with Fight Hub TV, link in the description. Keith Thurman expressed his thoughts on Crawford's performance, and he's saying what a lot of people think. He said, God bless you, kid. You did what you had to do, but the whole world's seen it. The version of Errol Spence that showed up on that fateful night is not going to get it done. Keith Thurman also believes that had he been in that position and he was the one that was fighting Errol Spence, and if Errol Spence looked like that, then he says he would have beat Errol Spence as well. So Keith Thurman is saying you didn't beat a real champion, bro. You didn't really beat a champion. And then he went on to story time of his late trainer, Ben Getty, who gamed him up early and said that not just in boxing, but athletes in general, they have this where father time is undefeated and they get old overnight. And it is no way to necessarily predict it. And Keith Thurman went on to say he doesn't really fault Errol Spence. He thinks that the accidents and things of that sort caught up with him. And it showed up on that given night and that fateful night in July versus Terence Crawford. Now, I know the Bud Buddies are not going to want to hear what Keith one-time Thurman said in this exclusive interview, but Ego Stradamus strikes again. The fact that, well, see, when I say it, I already know what I'm talking about. But when I say it, people feel a type of way. Oh, you're not the fighter. Oh, you're a dumb YouTuber. You don't know. But ironically enough, you've had, at this point, several fighters who are putting their face, their likeness, their voice on camera and saying what we all seen, that something was up with Errol Spence and he looked very off and that version of him wasn't that great. Now, I know for a fact when it comes to that specifically, I was one of the first people I was probably the first person to say that and to really lean in on that. Immediately after the fight, I said, props to Terence Crawford. He proved me wrong. I thought Errol Spence was going to win. But that version of Errol Spence, not only does he not beat Crawford, I told you that I don't believe that he would have beaten other guys that he's already beat. Those were my words exactly. And this was immediately after the fight. And nobody in the world of boxing with the voice was saying that. And I distinctly remember double downing on that and saying that. Some people, they want to say this, that, and the third, and like, oh, you're hating on Crawford, so they're going to miss the message. I don't really care. I don't make videos for the Bud Buddies or anyone specifically. If you're a fan of the sport, then you love me, point blank, period. That being said, the Bud Buddies, I knew they were going to get bent out of shape. Oh, you're making excuses. Listen, two things can be true. Errol Spence had a bad night in the office, and Terence Crawford is an elite fighter. Now, we knew Terence Crawford was a talented and great fighter. He came out with a great strategy to start it as a southpaw, not even give him a look as an orthodox fighter, not start slower paced. There was a lot of criticism that Crawford is the slow starter, so he upped the tempo. He drew first blood, created the first knockdown in the second round, and from that point, it was just a rough night in the office for Errol Spence. Part of that is Terence Crawford, but I still believe that there's something more than meets the eye that was up with Errol Spence, to the point where some people have sent me these videos right after the fight saying neuroscientists said that his speech pattern is different and things like that. I didn't really capitalize. Listen, I could capitalize it. Listen to me. I could capitalize on it and make a bunch of videos with no actual substance on the word of an alleged doctor. But at the end of the day, I try to give you guys hearty and great content with some integrity. It's very easy to clickbait. I could just be the clickbait king and make all these screwy titles that have you wondering when I'm going to talk about whatever the titles suggest or in the metadata and stuff like that. But me, it's not that serious. I'm a respected person in the world of boxing, and I choose to run my brand a certain way, and I run a tight ship. This is a well-oiled machine you're dealing with. So I choose not to clickbait y'all to death when it comes to like certain topics and stuff like that. It's like, what is the point? Like, if I know something's capped, why do I need to spend an insane amount of time fueling out videos? And you guys know I got multiple ways to record. I'm the kid with the golden voice. I can easily dish out a ton of videos in a small space of time because I've been doing this for a while. But hopefully you guys respect it and you respect the channel, the movement, and the integrity behind it. Because like I said, I could easily make a bunch of clickbait videos, but I'm not going to do that. But there's a lot of people who were sending me this video about some neuroscientist saying that he's convinced something is wrong with Errol Spence, yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, Errol Spence hasn't made any excuses. So you can't blame this on Errol Spence. Errol Spence ain't really said nothing. You know, he said the better man won. I ain't gonna make no excuses, man down. And that was it. And he just kept it pushing. The rest of the world, you'll always be judged, no matter what your industry is, you will always be judged by your peers. And the peers, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, that he was walking out of the venue, he went to see the fight live, and he said, Errol looked a bit dry to me. Oh my God. Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to this day. He said to this day, Errol Spence was looking a little bit dry, like he had struggles to make the weight. This is what he said. And he's a pugilist. He's a fighter. He's a warrior. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder from Tuscaloosa. He's the one that said this. You had Floyd Mayweather, who ended up doing an interview. And in that interview, he said that Errol Spence needed to be fighting at, I think he said middleweight or super middleweight, something crazy. And Errol's a welterweight. Abel Sanchez said he looked loaded. All of his casual friends was watching the fight and saying, hey, is this guy high? Yada, yada, yada. And now you have Keith one-time Thurman, who has broken his silence, and he's addressing the elephant in the room. The version of Errol Spence that you fought Terence Crawford, he would have lost to me, and he would have lost to Sean Porter. That's precise. I can't get any more accurate on my channel. That's literally what I said. People keep making this a Crawford thing, like, oh, you're hating. Oh, ego blocked me. Terence Crawford, you never liked him. Oh, Terence Crawford, what have you done for me lately? Oh, Crawford, why you talk about Crawford? Say something positive about Crawford, right? You guys say all this like poppycock, you know, oh, you don't like Crawford, or, you know, just give up your channel because you're not going to give Crawford. All this crying. They was crying in there. That's all y'all do in my channel is cry. Bow down to something greater than yourself, trick. And you guys cry and weep and kick and scream, and I love it. I just be at Chipotle and, you know, on dates and stuff, reveling in this. This is funny because I don't lose no sleep over it. I said what I said, and if you ever want to know what I said, you press play on the video. You feel me, right? So you're going to be judged by your peers. Keith one-time Thurman is saying the same thing that I've said. And it's so funny. I truly find it funny because there's a lot of people the Bud Buddies particularly, they didn't want this moment to happen. They want Crawford to get full-fledged, unadulterated, no other angles to the conversation. They just want you to say, oh, Bud's the best thing. And they even use stuff like, oh, Bud and his team said that he was not going to get the credit. Yo, Errol Spence looked extremely flat. Before he even got punched, he looks like his eyes were low and sunken, like he had a contact high or something. That was before the fight even happened. This is not even, at that point, you have to explain that. That was before Crawford even landed a jab, landed a punch. And now you got Keith one time, you better not duck me, son. You better not, I'm coming. Keith one time Thurman is saying that version of Errol, I would have beaten, Sean Porter would have beaten, and you didn't beat a real champion, bro. Like the late, great Ben Getty told him, sometimes one day you got it, the next day you don't got it, and sometimes people get old overnight. Like, here's an example, and Keith Thurman was cooking. You got to give him credit for that, because here's an example. One of my favorites, Sergio Maravilla Martinez. Perfect example is Sergio Martinez versus Miguel Cotto. And I like Cotto too. But I was convinced that Martinez was going to beat Cotto. And he got tore up. It was kind of like similar to the Errol Spence fight. He had no balance. He was falling. He had a knee brace. It was ugly. It was ugly. It was ugly to see. Just like the Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Because you have a Hall of Famer like Terence Crawford. You had a Hall of Famer like Miguel Cotto. But you guys say whatever you want. Oh, you're hating on Bud. I'm not even using a Bud example. Miguel Cotto versus Sergio Martinez. I'm not going to sit up here and act like that was Sergio Martinez at his best and there's nothing else to add to the conversation, and his knee, which he clearly injured in the 12th round in the Julio Cesar Chavez fight and lost. I thought he should have lost the Martin Murray fight, and he looked bad ever since the Chavez fight after that 12th round where he had messed up knee damage or ligament. I'm not going to not include that into my content because it makes you insecure. If you don't like it, don't watch me. That's the best thing you do. Oh, ego, you're hating on Bud. Whatever you talking about, do not watch my videos. Do not pass go directly to jail. I am not going to act like Errol Spence looked fine. I'm not going to act like Errol Spence. I don't care who's talking about what. Errol Spence, he looked very off. And now you got Keith Thurman, and his assessment is saying the same thing. People don't want to look like they're making excuses. I don't care what you say about me. I don't know some of y'all. I don't really care. I'm telling you what I've seen. And two things can be true. Errol Spence looked very off, and it looked like, to me, which is what I've always said, it looked to be more than just a stylistic differential. Caleb Plant and David Benavidez have opposing styles. And the way that fight played out, it played out like David Benavidez in the back half did what he's good at. Caleb Plant in the front half did what he's good at. That's what people expected from Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. Errol Spence is being tight-lipped. He's taking it like a G. So we don't really know what was the case. I have my theories. I think the weight has something to do with it, or something happened specifically in this camp. Keith Thurman obviously feels this type of way, because why would he say, Crawford, you haven't beaten a champion? Why is he still not convinced, instead of just being like, oh man, you did? Because people watched it again and they're like, man, something was up with Errol Spence. He really was just all the way off. And it's bad because Terence Crawford put out this tweet storm and he said he'll never give Danny Garcia a chance, and I'll never give Keith one time Thurman a chance because you guys did all this to me and kept me waiting, yada, yada, yada. I'll probably make a separate video about that. A lot of that was cap, to be honest. Nobody from PBC or Al Heyman, when you were working with Top Rank and you had nothing to do with their organization, they don't owe you anything. Point blank, period. They don't owe you fights. They don't have to send guys over. If you get that, that's nice. Merry Christmas. Icing on the cake. But nobody owes you when you're working with the ops and you're working with the competitor, especially when the ops at that time, you know, in different pockets, they were suing Al Heyman and stuff, saying he was trying to monopolize the sport. They couldn't stop Al Heyman. They tried to, and he still got it cracking. PBC, Al Heyman got the best fights definitely this calendar year. I mean, it's been the case for a minute, but if you don't see it now, then you Stevie Wonder, you Ray Charles, Georgia. Now, finally, because this is unpacked, I like to give you guys the best for the last. I gotta say the best for last. I posted I did a graphic for you guys. Make sure you follow me at BoxingEgo1 on Instagram. And I made a post basically stating what Keith Thurman said, which is I would wipe the floor with Errol Spence, the version that fought Crawford. I don't know how, because I don't really tag the fighters, so I didn't tag anybody. Errol Spence seen this and liked the post, which was shocking. It's shocking that Keith Thurman was saying, hey, this version of Errol, you know, Sean Porter would have beat, I would have beat. And Errol Spence liked the post. I mean, I don't know what that means, but if you click on it, if you go to my page and click on it, it sends you to his page. So he liked it. So he's seen it some kind of way and he liked it. So to be honest, I don't care what nobody's talking about. Something's going on. I think one day we'll find out why he looked exactly like that. Maybe that time comes in a month. Maybe it doesn't come for years. I don't know. Maybe you have to write a book about it, but something, to be honest, is up. And I don't see why he would like it. And Keith Thurman is saying this. Shane Mosley is saying the weight got to him. Floyd's saying he should be a middleweight. I mean, come on, bro. You guys can say whatever. Oh, give Crawford his credit. I mean, Crawford's a dope fighter. Good job. But I seen what I've seen. We unpack.
Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxing Ego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new, interactive, and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.